Okay, good evening and welcome to this evening's Crestwood School District Regular Board Meeting, dated Monday, May 23rd, 2022. I call this meeting to order at 7:21. Ms. Janoon, please take roll.
Okay. Mrs. Berry?
Here.
Mr. Baydoun?
Here.
Ms. Elzayat?
Here.
Ms. Fawaz?
Here.
Myself, Ms. Kaminsky is absent. Mr. Sabo?
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Janoon, consent agenda, please.
Board of Education approval is recommended for the items listed on the consent agenda, which include the May 23rd, 2022 board agenda, the minutes from the study session on Monday, May 9th, 2022, and the minutes from the regular meeting on Monday, May 9th, 2022.
We have a motion from Ms. Janoon, supported by Mr. Sabo, that the consent agenda action item be supported. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to business report.
Thank you. Number 1, approval of requisitions. The attached list of requisitions are items that buildings or departments would like to purchase for their upcoming needs. The requisitions have gone through all the appropriate approval processes and have been approved by administration for purchase. In addition, there are funds available to make these purchases. Once the requisitions are approved, they will be processed and purchase orders will be sent out.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Sabo.
I recommend the Crestwood Board of Education approve the requisitions per attachment 4A1.
Support.
We have a motion from Mr. Sabo, supported by Ms. Elzayat, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the requisition per attachment 4A1. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Number 2, approval of the 2022 millage resolution. Attached is the L4029 2022 tax rate request, which calculates our millage rate for the 22-23 school year. We are authorized to levy 18 mills on non-homestead and non-qualified agricultural property to help support general fund operations. This is the 6th year of our debt service millage related to the 2016 bond issue. In order to make our 22-23 debt service payments $2,001,393, the district will levy 2.5 mills upon all property in the school district. Both of these millages will be levied half in July and half in December. It should be noted that the debt service millage rate has remained constant for the 22-23 school year. Furthermore, the 2.51 mills levied is well below the 3.59 mills originally estimated when promoting the bond issue in 2016. In March of 2020, the voters approved 3 additional mills, which will be used in increments to increase our millage rate to the statutory rate not to exceed 18 mills. By passing the additional 3 mills, our millage rate has been brought up to 20.0907. By passing the additional millage rate, it allows for a cushion of 2.0907. The current rollback factor is 0.9815. At this time, administration is recommending that the Board of Education adopt the tax levy resolution for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Elzayat.
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education adopt the 2022 millage levy resolution approving an 18.0 mill levy on non-homestead and non-qualified agricultural property to support general operations of the school district, and the 2.51 mill debt levy to service current year principal and interest debt payments. See attachment 4A2.
Support.
We have a motion from Ms. Elzayat, supported by Ms. Janoon, that the Crestwood Board of Education adopt the 2022 millage levy resolution approving an 18 mill levy on the non-homestead and non-qualified agricultural property to support general operations of the school district, and the 2.51 mill debt levy to service current principal and interest debt payments. See attachment 4A2. Is there any discussion? All I want to say is this is something that has to happen every year. This is nothing new. We're not asking for any more money. This is just the typical process that districts have to go through.
It's not for homestead either.
It's not, right. It's for people who, right, for non-homestead and businesses. With that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Number 3, the 2021-22 budget amendment. Administration is requesting that the Crestwood Board of Education adopt the amendment of the 21-22 budget as presented in attachment 4A3. This amendment recognizes staffing changes which occurred throughout the year, additional capital outlay purchases, and realignment of expenditures into appropriate classifications. The budget amendment anticipates a stable fund balance with a minimal increase.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Baidoon.
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2021-22 amended budget as presented in attachment 4A3.
Support.
We have a motion from Mr. Baidoon, supported by Ms. Elzayat, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the 21-22 amended budget as presented in attachment 4A3. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Madam President,
Any opposed?
we need to take a roll call for that one, for the
Okay.
2 resolutions. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay, no problem. Ms. Janoon, please take roll.
Sorry. Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Baidoon?
Yes.
Ms. Elzayat?
Yes.
Ms. Fawaz?
Yes.
And myself, Mr. Saba.
Yes,
We have a,
that's one. You need to do it for the other also.
Okay,
Oh,
Madam
sorry.
Chair?
Next one?
We need to, somebody needs to make a motion.
Well, the motion was already made.
Did you want to do them separate?
well, she still
I
hasn't
haven't done the
read
next
it.
one yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
which one are you referring to, Penny? Are
The
you
next
talking
one.
about,
3 and
We did
4.
the budget amendment. We did
not the
number
millage
3.
resolution? I thought you were referring to the millage resolution. My
No.
my
No.
apologies, okay. Got it, okay. My apologies.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Penny.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Number 4, the 22-23 proposed budget. Administration is requesting the Crestwood Board of Education adapt the 22-23 proposed budget as presented in attachment 4A4. The proposed budget is a conservative approach as we await for the state of Michigan to adopt their budget. The document is fluid and will be amended when new information becomes available.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Saba?
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve 2022-2023 proposed budget as presented in attachment 4A4.
Support.
We have a motion by Mr. Sabah, supported by Ms. Janoon, that Crestwood Board of Education approve the 2022-23 proposed budget as presented in attachment 4A4. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Ms. Janoon, please take roll.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Baidoon?
Yes.
Ms. Elzayat?
Yes.
Ms. Fawaz?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Saba?
Yes.
Madam Chair, motion passes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5, approval of VLN contract. District administration would like to utilize the VLN to provide the district with an online curriculum and support for the district's virtual learning opportunities. The agreement would be effective July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. VLN will use our current course selections and scope and sequence of the Michigan Merit Curriculum. The district can upload and adjust courses as needed or as we see fit. The courses will be taught by VLN highly qualified staff. Their team has extensive experience and is able to integrate state standards-based content seamlessly within the context of each lesson and course. As a result, each student's experiences are individualized and rich with a deep understanding of content that is applicable to both local and state assessment. All courses contain a consistent, well-balanced framework of assignments and assignments designed to give teachers direct insight to students' understanding of content.
Madam Chair?
Ms. Elzayat?
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the contract with VLN Partners, LLP, see attachment 4A5.
Support.
Mr. Baidoon? We have a motion from Ms. Elzayat, supported by Mr. Baidoon, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the contract with VLN Partners LLP, see attachment 4A5. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Saba.
Question, this is obviously a 4-year contract. If for some reason it doesn't seem as if they're keeping up to the standard that we're looking for our students, is there a way out? Or are we obligated to stick it out for 4 years?
We can adjust the contract. There is a clause to terminate the contract sooner.
At any point?
And I don't remember, but it was in 30 days.
Within 30 days?
We have to notify them 30 days in advance from when we want to.
Is there a cost?
No.
So at any point during the 4 years, within a 30-day written notification, we can get out of this if we need to?
Yes.
Not that we would,
Yes.
but just let's be realistic. If the scores are dropping for a certain group in comparison to the students that we're teaching, I want to be able to take a look at a different road, and I'm sure you understand where I'm coming
Yeah,
from.
so if I may add to that. The contract we were able to negotiate them down with the 3-year term, which saved the district about $300 to $400 per student based on the contract on a yearly term. When we looked at that cost savings, we also looked at the process of which we're going to need, it's going to take some time to identify and adjust, because this is what we discussed at the last study session. What's good about this program is it's highly qualified teachers teaching it, but what's not in there is we have our mentor teachers as well, part of the process. So they're going to be adjusting with Mr. Iwata throughout the process, any adjustments that need to be made in reference to how VLN is supporting our students. So within that contract, we feel that the cost savings was valid for the 3-year contract, but we also have the opportunity to exit out of that contract if we foresee that it is not being successful with our students.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Ray.
I think, to Mr. Sabah's question is, we probably pay them, is it monthly, quarterly, whatever the payments are in installments
It would be on semester.
on semester? So once that's executed, if we feel at the end of the semester, once we make the final payment, if we do decide to execute the contract and terminate it, that means there will be no more payments? Is that what we're saying?
That would be correct.
Okay.
Once we finish the semester, yes.
Got it.
On page 8 of the contract, section 310 is the termination clause.
Worst case scenario is all I was thinking about. You have
Yes,
to
sir.
think of all
So yeah,
aspects.
you got to pay for the last semester.
Okay, Ms. Janu.
It just says the district shall pay all fees due VLN that accrued prior to the termination date in accordance with the terms of payment set forth herein. You do have 30 days. If VLN fails to cure the default within 30 days, I mean, it's in there, but there would be something that we would owe them.
Typically, you wouldn't terminate mid-semester.
You're
So
saying
you
it's
would,
semester,
you would
okay.
end the semester, typically.
Yeah,
You would have nothing to do with it this
yeah,
semester.
well,
so you-
right.
Worst
I'm
case,
just
you're
saying
stuck till the end of
if
the-
something happened
Yeah.
and that,
Okay, with that, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and I just wanted to thank the board for the support on the budgets.
Thank you for all the hard work you put into it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Okay, moving on to personnel report, Dr. Lazar.
Yeah, good evening. Short and sweet today. We have 2 action items on the agenda. The first is the appointment of a Spanish teacher for Riverside Middle School, Miss Sandra Martinez. Ms. Martinez holds a Bachelor of Liberal Arts and Sciences from Wayne State University. She has 6 years of teaching experience. She has served as a track coach and soccer coach. She has won the Women's Opportunity Award in 2015 and the Wayne County Commission Certificate of Accomplishment for Outstanding Contributions to the Community in 2013. Ms. Martinez served as an intervention specialist and worked with ESL students in summer school programs. She believes that teachers need to provide an environment of learning and emotional support, working to support students in achieving their goals.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Sabah?
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Sandra Martinez as a Spanish teacher for the 2021-2022 school year according to the CFT contract BA Step 4, effective pending acceptable criminal background check and other employment documentation as required by law. See attachment 5A1.
Support.
We have a motion from Mr. Sabah, supported by Ms. Janoon, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Sandra Martinez as a Spanish teacher for the 21-22 school year according to the CFT contract BA Step 4, effective pending acceptable criminal background check and other employment documentation as required by law. See attachment 5A1. Is there any discussion?
I know she's currently subbing in that classroom
Yes.
anyways, right, so, okay.
So I do have one question,
Go ahead.
and this is not in regards to Ms. Martinez, I think in general. Is there a certain date once someone comes on board at the certain time of year to where once we do end of year reviews and then we look at potential, how do you say, renewal? Yeah, is there a certain, because there's no point to revisit this one, right? There's 3 weeks left of the school year
She's hired her for this year,
for this year,
which is permanent.
She would still get a rating, because by state law, we have to give a rating.
okay?
So, I mean, as long as she's effective these next 3 to 4 weeks, she'll get effective.
Now, in regards to like the majority, and correct me if I'm wrong, of our employees, when the next year comes, we look at reviewing their current step, right? Would Ms. Martinez be a part of that?
It's not a review of the step. They all get a step automatically.
Right, would she get a step next
Yes.
year automatically?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
that was my question.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Fox.
Just real quick, I just noticed this when he mentioned steps. So the step 4 for Martinez, and then the step for the following employee on the next one, they're both coming in at the same step, with one being the teacher and one being the assistant? Is that right?
They're completely different scales, though.
Contracts.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, our second action item is for the appointment of an administrative assistant to HR and Student Services, Ms. Tanya Gregory. Ms. Gregory has worked as an HR administrative assistant, representative, coordinator, and manager, accumulating 10 years of experience in HR-related work. She has worked with screening and recruiting candidates and onboarding new employees. Ms. Gregory believes that building relationships are key to being successful in the field of HR.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Sabo?
let Mr. Baidoon went ahead and answer.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Baidoon?
I recommend that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Tanya Gregory as an administrative assistant to HR Student Services according to the Central Office Non-Director Contract, Class 1, Step 4, effective pending acceptable criminal background checks and other employment documentation as required by law. See attachment 5A2.
Support.
We have a motion from Mr. Baidoon, supported by Mr. Sabah, that the Crestwood Board of Education approve the hiring of Tanya Gregory as an administrative assistant to HR Student Services according to the Central Office Non-Director Contract, Class 1, Step 4, effective pending acceptable criminal background check and other employment documentation as required by law. See attachment 5A2. Is there any discussion? That individual will be at central office and they're
Correct.
gonna work between you and student services.
She's my administrative assistant.
Okay, so you're also student services.
Correct, but
Okay.
under my original title, that's how the administrative assistant was classified, because those are the main two branches of the district that they support,
Okay.
and we didn't change that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Board. Good evening, community. No action items today. I have a few informational items. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate and I'd like to scream from the top of the ceilings because our literacy initiative in our high school, at Crestwood High School, is receiving national attention. This last week, we had school district personnel from Texas, California, and Arizona visit our classrooms, observe teachers teaching. They had a question and answer session, and then they asked me to speak at an event that evening about our plight and our goals as a district. So we're moving in the right direction, but I will tell you this, that the wonderful thing, some of the comments that I was receiving back from the visitors was how they noticed in every classroom they went into, and also like the teachers that they weren't even scheduled to go into, like they were still into it. Where a lot of teachers are burnt out and tired, but they were still actively involved, still teaching, and our kids were phenomenal, and everybody was so hospitable. It's very nice to hear that. So as a superintendent, it's like somebody says that about, you know, your home when they come into your home. So it was very nice, and it was a very good evening as well. Also, our school district and our school will be we are in a video for West Ed. They interviewed myself and several other teachers about our literacy initiatives, and we will be part of a national campaign for literacy in secondary. Athletics. As one of the things that we started as a district, I think it was a year ago, was EA Sports. We made it a Letterman Award, and in our first year, we won the national tournament in Call of Duty. So I want to give, I mean, you got to realize, people think like, oh my, that is a very difficult thing to do, to win the national tournament. Originally, they were supposed to fly out to Texas, but they ended up, I don't know why, but they changed it where everybody competed from their home district. So congratulations to Bilal Baidoon, Zahad Damain, Mohammed Najah, and Ali Salami for being the HSEL champions. Also, Bilal Baidoon was also, it's on our Instagram site as well as our webpage, he was also a finalist and an awardee as an individual in EA Sports. He's also going on scholarship to play soccer at University of Michigan Dearborn. And they chose him to spotlight him because he plays sports. He does the EA Sports. You know, he's almost a 4.0 student. He's going, you know, so they profiled him nationally to show that, look, this isn't just people sitting behind a TV and gaming. You know, they do a lot of other things as well.
Isn't Ali Salami also one of our top students?
Ali Salami is our valedictorian. And that was,
I didn't want to say it in
No,
case
no,
I was
you
wrong,
got it.
but
May I add, he was also Defensive Player
MVP.
of the Year for the
For the
Crestwood
football
High
team.
School football team. So their athletics, their gaming, scores are, I mean, that's
through the
just
roof.
awesome.
I still can't believe this is a sport. I'm sorry. For those of you that heard that and got offended, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking back to my father, rest his soul. If he would have heard this was a sport, I mean, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not going backwards. Colleges are offering scholarships for it.
Yes.
It's just so unusual for my generation to hear that. That's all. But it's
Age
great.
is showing.
And it's a huge.
I am not a spring chicken, so I will
It's
admit.
a huge industry need too. So kids that are successful in this and they go this route post-secondary, I mean, I want to push a college education, but there are students who are doing this and they're making more money at 19 than I'll make in my entire
We
life.
know
Seven
one from
figures.
Dearborn.
Yeah.
Seven figures.
So I'm very proud of them. Girls varsity soccer are the 21-22 league champions. Districts begin in 2 days, May 25th. I want to congratulate our seniors, Samantha Ayub, Saraya Ayub, Malak Hamoud, Naveen Hussain, Pai Kazmat, and Nadia Saab, our seniors who took our team and supported the team to district champions, league champions, and hopefully they'll bring a district championship home. Where is the district? I don't have that information. I can get it to the board. Some spring band concert for CHS and RMS band concert will be at the CHS auditorium at 7 p.m. Kristen, do you have a date on that? Once you get it, let me know.
Isn't it right here?
Is it on there? I'm sorry, is it right in front of me?
May 25th.
May
2022?
25th. There you go. Same day district start. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Madam President. Memorial Day weekend is this weekend. The school district will be closed in observance of Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th. I just would like to say, you know, there's something that you can't give enough thanks to are those that serve our nation, especially those families whose loved ones gave the ultimate price for our freedoms. That's what this weekend represents. I know that we'll all be having barbecues and enjoying family time, and that's good. But I just ask all to remember those that have given so much. I can say that I have, you know, 2 uncles who came to this country, and the first thing they did was they joined the armed services, one, the 101st Airborne, and the other one, military police, and both served in wartime. And people have, you know, because of them and others is why we today have what we have. So I want to give a thanks to all of our veterans currently active and in active duty.
Well said.
Some important dates. We're getting to the end. We have senior finals this week. It's almost there. Trustee Alzayat, good luck. You got a senior. We have senior graduation rehearsal June 2nd. Honors night, June 2nd. Graduation is June 4th. Let's all pray for good weather. We have the same setup we had last year, so it should be exciting.
I was asking Kristen about that.
Yep, same setup. Mr. Abdahadi and his team have been all over it.
Are we going to sit in the sun again?
Yes, of course.
Are you it got hot.
Bring your sunglasses. And some RMS important dates as they finalize their honors program dates. June 8th for 5th grade will be at 9:30 a.m. June 8th, 6th grade will be at 1 p.m. June 9th, 7th grade will be at 1 p.m. 8th grade honors and promotion will be June 8th for last names A through E at 6 p.m. And then June 9th, last names F through Z at 6 p.m. We had to break it up because it's a good problem to have. We have too many students, not enough space. So it's a good problem to have. And the last day for all students is June 17th, 2022. And on a final note, I want to thank Ms. Morgan for her work to amend our 21-22 budget, prepare our 22-23 budget. We are fiscally sound. I appreciate that, and we will continue to move forward. I look forward to what the future holds for us. And on a last note, just so you're aware, our teams are already prepping for summer professional learning. We are already preparing our professional learning opportunities for this coming year. This summer and this fall, hopefully we're going to be able to continue to roll with the direction we're currently headed. I'm excited for our district and I'm excited for our future. Board, thank you.
With that being said, how many students applied for the summer program?
We're still getting those numbers. I haven't looked at
Are
it.
they
We've
better?
we've sent out 2 surveys via InTouch, one on text, one in email, and we sent out another survey through MyStar on email. So Mr. Awada's keeping up with that. I haven't checked, but the numbers are coming up, and I'm sure, because the other piece to that too is when we come back and we start, we get into the MTSS process, which Andrew here and the school psychologists are doing a very good job of building that process. The idea is that we may identify some students who would really benefit from it as well.
So is it, it's going to be held here at Riverside?
No. There will be a middle school component and a high school component.
Okay. No elementary?
No elementary component because the data shows that it's not beneficial for those children.
Okay.
But the middle school and the high school data shows that there are many students who are being very successful. So the idea is if you're a Riverside Middle School student, you'll meet your mentor teachers here for the hybrid pieces. And if you're a high school student, you'll meet your mentors at the high school for the hybrid purpose. But you'll be doing the vast majority of the work from home.
Okay, that's good to hear. I just want to make sure that we don't miss the ones that really need it, and hopefully we can send out that
Well,
information.
and exactly, and that's where the MTSS process comes into play, because again, we're making this our baby, where it's not just a generic program. This is going to be Crestwood working hand in hand with the Virtual Learning Network to build something that's going to be sustainable for the future as well, and identifying and helping students identify those that need.
Madam Chair?
Thank you for the information. Yes, Ms. Fawaz?
For the online program, will this be like, in reference like to this year where once you were signed up, like you were on, or if you weren't signed up, you couldn't sign on? Like would this be where if their first semester was face-to-face, they could do the second semester as virtual? Like would it be flexible in that way?
So yes and no, and here's what I mean by that. We're going to be using the multiple tiers of system supports process to identify students who will need this program. Our goal is not to allow this program to be an easy out. It's to be, this is a program that's truly going to help you. And this is how and why. Because there's a parent commitment component to it. The parents have to be actively involved in that process. Our goal is that once you sign up, you finish the year. Because we don't want students coming in and out. Because if students come in and out, that's not going to help them. Now, could there be outliers? There could be, like there was this year. But again, that still goes through the MTSS process. Where it's not going to just be, I don't want to be there anymore, or I want to be in there. No, there's going to be a process. There's a team of teachers, social workers, school psychologists, everyone that is part of that process that will evaluate, look at the data, look at what has been put in place, how we help the student, and is the student putting forth the effort.
Okay.
So it's a multi-layered process, and it's something that we're going to work through this coming year. But we learned a lot from COVID, so we're hoping to have a lot of success with it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Ms.
So I just have, just not related to this, but I know Ms. Said was here. Are we supposed to get the packets for the wellness policy?
So I had sent an email to Madam President Berry and Trustee Fawaz to review it, to let me know what you want the next steps to be.
Oh, did you send it today?
No, this was last week.
For the wellness policy?
Yeah.
Because doesn't it have to be voted on by the next meeting?
It does. It does. So you have, everything that was sent to Trustee Fawaz and Madam President Berry was put in the Friday update.
Okay.
So you didn't receive, no one received anything that was different.
Okay.
So being that we're moving to the study session piece, it's a quick conversation we can have in the June study session and put it on for vote, because it's just an amendment. We're not changing the policy. And if you look at what is being updated as an amendment, it's just we're changing dates and names. Like my name as a superintendent.
I just know she was here, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, she was there because if we got to it,
Okay.
if there would be any questions. But it's in what was sent to both is in the Friday update as well. So everybody has a copy of it. You'll see the amendments are names, dates, and a few other changes. So it's not a new policy. By state law, every 3 years we have to review it.
Right. I only asked because I know that they were looking for parent volunteers, and
Yeah.
a couple of friends of mine
Yep.
were on that, so.
Okay, thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Now, if we could have public comments. Ms. Janoun, can you please read the statement?
This meeting of the board is held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. This is not the time for debate or argument. Do not mention any student or staff names. In order to permit a fair allotment of time to participants, speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The president may extend this time to 5 minutes per person when needed. Up to a half hour is provided for public input. Direct all questions to the board president. And the first one is Mr. Ron, if you'd like to come up.
Mr. Ron Ferenzi.
Hello. Okay. My name's Ron Frenzy, live here in Dearborn Heights. And I was here, I think, back in September, October, and I had a whole presentation about masks. So this is what they call a cloth, this is stupid, but this is what they call a cloth mask, because it's cloth, surgical, they use this in surgery, and then they have the 95 masks, which is the best ones to have. But why talk about this? It turns out in the Wall Street Journal, they had 2 articles calling White House sees potential surge and new wave of COVID-19 cases expands across the nation. The White House is projecting 100 million people to get COVID again. Who knew? Back in the fall of this coming year. And what was interesting about these masks is that I mentioned that these cloth masks don't really work at all. And back in February of this year, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, says they don't work at all. So if there are a huge influx of COVID cases, it may be good to recommend this, which isn't very good because this only is effective 40% of the time, but the 95s are effective 95% of the time. Just something to consider. The other thing, couple other things has to do with inflation. We all know that prices are going up and up and up. There was an article a couple days ago in the Wall Street Journal. Teen babysitters are charging $30 an hour. 30. My sister was working for 2 to 3. So.
I'm going into the new line of business.
And the last thing has to do with money. It's interesting. We talked a lot about the budget. The federal government back in the fall approved $122 billion for K through 12 education, and every state was allotted so much money. I think Michigan was allotted $4 to $5 billion. So it may be good to apply for that, because one of the things you can get is upgrades to school facilities. And I think the school district is going to be in the building mode soon. Well, you can get it all free. But the little trick here is that you have to apply before September 24, like in 2 years, or else the money just goes away.
I think I'm positive that the administration has already done this, right?
Yes, and we received, Mrs. Morgan, how much total did we receive in ESSER, just off the top of your head?
Yeah, just off the top of my head, 17 million, roughly.
Yes.
See, that's really good. I mean, that's really good. And also what I mentioned, also I'm mentioning about this is about 6 weeks ago in the city council, one of the council people came up and they said, oh, by the way, did you know the department heads got 20 to 25 to 30 to 34% raises? Holy cow. And unfortunately, the lowly ladies, the union ladies that answer the phones, that when you go pay your water bill, they take the money, they're getting 1%. And they are hopping mad. So I just bring this up because imagine if the teachers would like 30% increase in pay, who knows, what that would do to your budget. It's unfortunate.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the last thing I have is kind of interesting. On May 10th, I think you had an in-service program for teachers.
Yes.
Do they still call it in-service?
Professional learning.
Professional learning, okay. So I've got I've got a neighbor that's first grade, and I always like to tease him. So I says, "How come this is on May 10th. I says, "How come you're home? How come you're not in school?" Because I says, "The teachers are there. What are they doing? They're in school learning some things they did not know."
Yes.
I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They're in school learning something they did not know.
Thank you, Mr. Frenzy.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate that.
Okay, next we have Ms. Zimuru.
I don't have a voice, it's kind of gone. So my boys been a part of the district since, one is in 7th grade now, the other one's in 5th grade. It's been an honor. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. There's been changes, great changes, but there still needs to be a lot more changes. Riverside is where my kids both attend. There's been the behavior of the kids, the consequences, the parent-teacher connection. As a parent, I want to be able to come in and feel like I want to be heard. And I want that person to realize it takes a village. That's what we always say, it takes a village. So if the administration, the staff, the employees are not on the same page as the parents, we're not going to get anywhere. There's got to be improvement on every aspect. This school was neglected the most. We all know that. I've been to board meetings. I've been through it all. We've been on PTA. The older my kids are getting, the less I've been able to get involved with PTA, but the more I'm involved with the teachers one-on-one. My main concern is building that connection. Build that bridge where a staff member, a social worker, a caseworker, a counselor, Caseworker's doing an amazing job trying to get there. But he needs that support from the staff, the teachers, the parents. But the students need to feel comfortable. I was in a scenario where I didn't feel too comfortable coming in, and Caseball made me feel better, but there was other individuals that did not. He's working on it, but there's so many right now, kids getting suspended. My concern is, I've always been for suspension from day one. But now I'm starting to look at it as in, are these suspensions really necessary? Or are we just saying, hey, we're done? I don't care if my kid gets suspended. It's not that I don't care. Let me rephrase that. If my kid does something, he should pay the consequences for his actions. But what actions did he do to get the consequence? And what was done to follow through to make sure that he wasn't there? I'm not here to dog the system at all. What I am saying is, when hiring, I've heard 2 people that were hired, they said their role is to make that connection, build that bond. Are they really following through with that? Because as a parent, I don't feel it, so I don't know how my kids feel it. So I do want to call out a few teachers that have gone out of their way. Mrs. Gorski is my son Charlie's math teacher. Mr. Baydoun, who's been an advocate for our children. Mr. Kafer, the counselor. Was willing to help my son without a label, and said, whatever you need, Miss Maru, we're here. And Mr. Casepole, we just need that extra support, making sure that the staff understands you're not coming in saying this is what you're going to do and not do it.
I just want to comment. I know that we've really worked hard. Are you meeting the counselors and the psychologists and the social workers? Is there somebody that you want to maybe talk to Dr. Masalam about? Maybe you want to make that connection?
Mrs. Maru and I already had a conversation.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So everything,
yes. Like I said, Mr. Casewell he's trying to build that foundation. He stood by me. He made me feel comfortable in the position. But when we're hiring is my concern. When we're hiring, are we following through and making sure that these people really know where their role is? Like what they're supposed to be doing, how they're supposed to make a parent feel, how they're supposed to make that. If they're not making that connection with the parent, how is that kid going to feel that connection? because that's my concern. This is unfortunately my kid's last year here. It's just too much for me. But I want to know that for other kids and children and parents, that they can feel comfortable coming in and realizing, hey, you're a social worker, you're a counselor. There has to be that bond. Mr. K was the one person out of the counseling that made me feel like you don't need anything. You just pick up their phone and I'm there. Dr. Masalam, my son Charlie sees him in the classroom, in the hallway, and he says, oh my, Dr. Masalam was there today. They get excited. They want to feel that vibe. We need more of that vibe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Abdelhak.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a question, something going around in the community, people talking a lot about the bond, the board going to propose to build the new schools. So we like to hear it from the board directly or the superintendent, how much money we talking about and what we going to build and what property we acquired, if any, to put any schools on it, or this is just rumors?
To be honest with you, I don't know the exact details. I haven't seen a monetary amount. I have not read all the details. Dr. Masalam has given the board some information. If anybody wants to elaborate on that, you're more than welcome to do so. Mr. Beydoun, I personally have not read all the details because I couldn't read at the time. But yeah, I had surgery. That's why I couldn't read.
We tell the people, so we prepare.
Absolutely, but we haven't. Nothing has actually come out. We have not voted on anything. We haven't actually had a public discussion because if it is going to happen, it will definitely be a public discussion. But go ahead, Mr. Beydoun.
So, Mr. Abdelhak, I think what the community came out and showed their support on a particular item when we were talking about some real estate items. And the board decided to table it to go explore further options on what needs to be done for the students and the community.
We're talking about the Field of Dreams.
Correct.
I know.
So, and I know you were in the audience,
Yes.
so that I assumed you
That's
knew
right.
that. So, transparency is the most important thing. And I think the board needs to be transparent. So, we asked our superintendent, to give us options and what do we need to do. Some individuals asked the superintendent for options. So there has been a preliminary talks of a bond. It has not been voted on, as Ms. Berry has already said. It has not been reviewed yet. It has not been discussed yet. But ideally, what we need is options for the facilities and the students in place. One being maybe looking at real estate. Two, maybe down the line looking at a bond. Three, maybe potentially if our enrollment grows up, maybe adding schools or classrooms. You see what's happening now with our elementary schools that we're doing some expansions to add more seats for the students. So this has been nothing more than a preliminary discussion as an option. There's always an option on this end of the spectrum, and there's always an option on this end of the spectrum. In regards to the monetary amount, I can't tell you exactly, but it's in the high millions for sure. And that's, if we're going to build a new high school, if we're going to build new facilities, we don't know yet because we haven't discussed it as a board.
Are we talking about high school or middle school or elementary school, or we don't know yet?
No. Man.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Sabo.
Mr. Abdelhak, how are you?
Hi.
We haven't talked about, first of all, I don't know where they're talking about building schools. That was not even discussed. What has been discussed is options. As it be, you've been a part of this community and have done so much. We would not be doing our citizens a service by not looking at options. You stood up here a few weeks ago and said,
I agree
look at
with you.
options. And we're looking at options. We haven't discussed it publicly, privately, or anything else.
No.
Dr. Masalam did what we asked of him, is to give us a specific option, give us a few different scenarios within that option, so we can look. I can assure you Nobody's talking about building a new high school because we have nowhere to put a new high school, as you know. So nobody's looking at building schools because we've heard our community members. We're not going to do anything on that field right now. We have to take a look first and foremost at our students, okay? Our student base is growing, as you know. A home sells with a couple, a family of two with 2 or 3 or 4 kids are moving in. We've got to look at options, and that's what we've done. From a monetary perspective, it wouldn't be fair to throw numbers out. The reason it wouldn't be fair is because we haven't looked at all the options together to be able to discuss that with the community. But I assure you that anything we do is not just done for 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5-year plan. It's to make sure that the district in 20 years, when my kids have children in the district, they're well positioned to be competitive and have a great opportunity to grow within the district and have the right education, the right athletics around them. All the ancillary situations that they should have as students within the district. We want to make sure that's all possible to them. So there are no specific dollar amounts for us to share. I can tell you one thing, we are all doing what we need to do as trustees, is looking at options. When those options are things that we've kind of solidified and we're all in agreement upon, you're absolutely right. It is something that we will definitely share in an open forum with all citizens, and we invite everybody to come and share their opinions with us. But this specific time, there's nothing. What I'm really saying is a lot of it is rumors based on the word that you used. But we are definitely doing everything we can and putting in our due diligence to make sure that we're taking care of our children for the next 20 to 25 years.
And I do want to comment about another thing. I know you're going to start seeing some building happening at the elementaries. That is not part of any bond. That's the ESSER funds, that the federal funds that have been awarded to the district. Every district in the state of Michigan has received funds, and we opted to use that to expand and add classrooms. So that is nothing to do with a bond. That's money that was earmarked to districts, and that's what we're using.
I'm glad to hear that you are looking forward for the future, for 20 years from now, because that's how we should plan, not just for a year or 2 or 5. Okay, that's what we need to do really, and to use the money in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, with that, any comments from the board? Ms. Elzayat?
Excuse me, I did not understand what's going on here. Madam Chair?
Well, yes, I would like to start.
We're going to mix it up a little bit. Go ahead, Ms. Elzayat.
I have nothing to say. No, I'm just joking. So I just wanted to update not update, but announce that there will be a show here at Riverside. It's called the Great American Talent Show, June 2nd through the 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in the RMS Auditorium. I am looking forward to seeing that show that's headed by Miss Rita Beydoun. I'm excited to see what her and those kids are going to do this year. I'm sure it'll be great. So I encourage everybody to join and come out and see the show for yourselves. Also, I wanted to give congratulations to our 2022 NHS inductees. I apologize, I personally was not able to make that ceremony. However, I wanted to give a special congratulations to all of our new inductees. And that's it. Looking forward to the end of the year.
Okay, Ms. Janu.
So, I'll echo what Ms. Elzayat said, and also the seniors did have their prom on Friday, and just want to say thank you to Ms. Haider and Ms. Barada, because they took on that task, and it's not an easy one, but thank you to them, and congratulations to our seniors, and I'll keep it short. I'm going to save it all for you guys.
So the problem with being in the middle is it doesn't matter which end you start at. I just did have a question for seniors next year. Are they still purchasing parking for next year, or is it a different process? And
I would
because I have
assume-
an upcoming senior, so I
would
know her
assume
and
it's
her
the
friends
same.
all ask.
I would assume it's the same. I would say just reach out to Mr. Abdahadi and he can clarify that.
Okay.
But it's for your daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just have her check.
They notify them, and just as the other seniors leave, Then they notified
Because I
the
think
new
they were
seniors.
told, like, a lot of the other high
Did they-
schools already got their notifications to do that already, and
I'll check
rumor
with-
was that they weren't doing it, so.
I'll check with Mr. Abdahadi, but I'm pretty sure they are, but I'll double check.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Baidoon.
Okay, so, one, again, congrats, seniors. Two, I want to thank Amity Foundation for giving our students and community an opportunity to volunteer. In the past few weeks, they had a couple events, and honestly, whether it's Amity or any other organization that is around here that's doing some volunteer work, I want to say thank you to the Crestwood students that go there and borrow their parents' pickup trucks and deliver some things, and they work real hard. I know how busy they are, and I know many of these students work, so I want to say thank you to them and to Amity to give us an opportunity. Also, I just want to touch on and say thank you to the teachers and the administration, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit why. My son came home with some iReady scores, and I'm going to brag a little bit, but I expect high scores from my son. He's pretty good in school. But then my youngest came home, and I hope she doesn't watch this in 10 years, but she came home with some preliminary good scores as well, and she's at her level. And she lost a little bit of that during COVID, when we were out and everything was online. And just naturally, I think the world lost a little bit of that intact. So, they wouldn't have really improved if the process hasn't been going academically, and I'm only speaking in regards to academics, the way it should be going. I haven't seen my middle schooler scores yet, but I just want to say, for what I've seen initially, it's night and day for what I expected out of my youngest. Okay, and it's a lot higher than I thought my middle child would get. So I know that's just two students in our district, but honestly, if you had any interactions with my youngest, you would understand that, how could she be a little bit behind in reading or whatever, but now she's not really behind. And I want to say thank you. I'm all for Highview in all of our schools, Hillcrest, Kinloch, for sure, all of them. But I just want to say thank you, because it starts with the people in this panel and it funnels down. So I'll get off the soapbox there. But also, we need more parent involvement. And I know, Ms. Janoun, you do a lot. You donate a lot of your time, right? But in general, we need more parent involvement. I know we had a community member just speaking about her children earlier, and she's putting in a lot of time. She's saying, well, now I'm putting in more time with the teachers, right? We need our parents to not just think that you go to school and you come home and everything's perfect. We need them to ask how their days were. We need them to ask what they get on their last test. We need them to ask, what assessments are they taking? What is iReady? I bet you a lot of parents don't even know what that is. We need them to be more involved, because, in my opinion, education starts with the home. And if we can't get movement there along with our staff and administration, I think Dr. Masalam's open door policy is there for a reason. And perfect example is Ms. Maru, when she got up there and she said, I've already discussed this with Dr. Masalam. We need more parents like that to reach out and not just sit back and expect things to change. We need parents to be a part of the change so our administration could really help support. So I want to thank you for speaking about that earlier. But the most important thing is all of us as parents, as aunts, uncles, colleagues, friends, whatever, we need to talk to the community members to be more involved with our kids as well. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Saba.
Thank you. Belated, I know we spoke of Faculty Appreciation Week last week. Thank you to all the faculty for everything they did in 2021-2022 school year. Congratulations to our seniors. Proud of all our National Honor Society students. I apologize, I wasn't at the induction ceremony either. I was traveling, but I'm very proud of all of our fine students and the ones that are getting into obviously top grade universities, and anybody who's continuing on with their education or moving on into any field, trades or anything. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of the school district and making it what it is. I want to congratulate our girls for their league champ victory. And Dr. Masalam, you stole my thunder about Memorial Day, and that's okay. Memorial Day is a celebration for all of us where we get together with family, and we barbecue, and we celebrate, and we do parades, and we forget the reason that it's called Memorial Day. So to all those who have lost family members in service, thank you. Thank you for sharing the best part of your lives to give this country everything it has. None of us up here can actually say that. I hope that at least for a moment on Memorial Day this year, everybody remembers what the day truly means. I just want to thank all of you guys. This has been a fantastic year. I know we're coming up on the end of the year academically, and proud to serve with all you guys. I know we've done a lot this year. There's so much more we need to do. As Mr. Abdul was talking, and I was sharing 20 and 25-year plans, that takes a lot. Every one of us is on the hook for voting our conscience and doing what's right for these kids for the long term. And I'm proud of everything that we've done, and I know we've got a lot of work to do. So thank you, guys.
Okay, with that, you guys have said it all. Thank you. I just want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend. Be safe, enjoy your families, and if I can get a motion to adjourn. Supported by Ms. Elzayat. We have a motion from Mr. Baidoon, supported by Ms. Elzayat. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you and good night, everyone.